Ya estoy invitando a Guillermo. Bueno, ¿y cómo se han sentido trabajando desde casa? Tengo esa curiosidad. ¿Están bien? ¿Ya se están acostumbrando? ¿Se sienten encerrados? ¿Han tenido tiempo? Demasiadas labores con la familia. Me imagino algunos haciendo tareas, trabajando, cocinando. Bueno, acá estamos todos convirtiéndonos en multitask.
Hola Camila, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, Guillermo, ya te vemos.
Bien.
Sí, yo
Ahorita
dije
voy
que iba a
a...
hablar en inglés, pero vas a hablar en español, ¿verdad?
No, lo voy a hacer en inglés porque lo que tengo en el content es en inglés.
Okay.
Entonces, I'm going to do it in English. I will speak slow. Si tienen preguntas, aquí vamos a estar. And I will give you the presentation afterwards. But I'm planning on talking for 20 minutes. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can start. You can share your screen right now. You're answering because meanwhile you connect, I was asking them how they're feeling. And I think that many of them is that they're working twice as more as before. I feel the same.
Yeah. We're working twice as much as before, and with a new set of problems.
Yeah. And now I'm become a digital IT expert as well.
Yeah.
With all these
seminars. I mean, it's tough.
It is, but it has been great.
So,
we still have many people online. So I give you the floor, and I'll just share the screen, and then I close my microphone and video. Thank you, Guillermo.
And Camila, did you get? I sent over some poll questions. I don't know if we'll be able to get to them.
Yeah,
but
I'll post them. Yeah, I'll
post
them.
Those questions.
Yeah, I'll post them. Meanwhile you're talking, I'll post them.
Perfect. Yeah, I would love to see the feedback.
Perfect.
All right. Okay, so I'm ready when you are.
We're ready. You can start.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Guillemo Mazier. I'm the Vice President of Global Innovation at Conway. For those of you guys who don't know Conway, we're the world's leading economic development, marketing, and corporate expansion firm. We have over 150 employees across 31 different countries and 6 continents. And we work every day with companies that are considering expanding or relocating their operations. And we work every day with communities trying to attract investment, trying to grow the investment within their economies. And personally, I've worked in the field for the last 15 years, written for Forbes, worked with the Inter-American Development Bank, the European Union, the International Economic Development Council, and have worked with 150 different communities all over the world, really focusing on helping them generate awareness, digital transformation, and building strategies to grow their economies. So the presentation, or the power talk that I'm going to give you today, is on marketing. We are in a very unprecedented time in our history, a time that we've never seen before, never experienced. And while we've never experienced this type of uncertainty before, we have experienced other uncertainties, and the only reference that we have for this crisis is this crisis. And generally, economic developers, the mistake that's made in these times is when you have a crisis, you cut marketing. Well, I'm going to tell you that that's not what you do. When you have a crisis, you reposition your marketing. And so I'm going to talk about some of the ways that you can reposition your marketing and talk through some principles. Talk through some principles in marketing, give you some understanding of some new tactics within the context of marketing. And don't worry, Camila will get you these slides after the talk, but I want to make sure that we cover the main points. And I would encourage you all to connect with me on LinkedIn. In fact, I'll actually, if you haven't seen it already, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you this too before I forget, because I got 20 minutes. If you take your phones, part of the thing that's so fascinating about our world is that we have technology has accelerated the level at which we can communicate and at which business is being done. So right now we have 1,000 people on a phone call or on a virtual chat, and we're connecting with each other right away. But if you have a phone and you open your camera and you take your camera and you hover it over this, a QR code, and we can connect on LinkedIn, which I think is going to be a value to everyone. But with that said, I want to jump into the meat of the presentation, which is helping you understand the framework that I'm going to provide in some of the content. Right now, in today's day and age for marketing, digital continues to be in the driver's seat. We are, while we are relationship people, we like to shake hands and give hugs and besos. Digital continues to be one of the highest performing marketing channels to support telling a story. And if we as marketers, whether we're a free zone or an investment promotion organization, or we're a company, the best thing that we can do is tell an authentic story. And there's 3 parts of that process from a marketing perspective. One, it's saying a story that's different. That's not the same thing as everybody else. So saying we're open for business, or we're the best, or we're number one is not the same thing. Is not the same thing as your competitor. So saying something that's different, number one. Number two, saying something that is relevant. What is relevant about the marketing that you are doing? And number three, what is true? What is the truth about the organization? So we have a tendency to sometimes make up some statistics, but I think if you can anchor to those 3 points, you'll be in a good place. And one of the tools or places of marketing that I like to talk about with respect to digital is LinkedIn. If you're not using LinkedIn to make connections during this time, you're missing out on opportunities. LinkedIn has 610 million users. It continues to grow worldwide. And I think as you'll from, whoops, I don't know what just happened to my screen. There we go. As you'll see from the data that I'm going to show you, I don't know what just happened. Give me 1 second. Now I got a technical difficulty. So give me a second. Here we go. This is the LinkedIn network. It's a map of all my networks on LinkedIn, from clients to prospects to my corporate relationships. And understanding the network is really important because it'll help you generate awareness during this time, during this downtime or this time of crisis, and generate that connection that people need that you can't get because we can't go out of our houses right now. So on LinkedIn, 4 to 5 key decision makers are on it. Deals are being done by the connections that are on LinkedIn. It continues to be the #1 online platform for lead generation. And there's a lot of ways to use it. So from the company page to your individual page and your individual post, which is organic, and paid content and sponsored content, which you have to pay LinkedIn for. So those are kind of the 2 areas of LinkedIn that I think are important, that I wanted just to stress during my 20-minute power talk. But I also wanted to go over some of the principles of marketing during this time. Everybody thinks that, like I said before, you have to cut marketing, But the reality is you don't. You just have to provide meaningful content. So the next 2 weeks, is sensitive. People are losing jobs every day. People are losing jobs every day. Companies are going out of business or looking to get more money. And generally, our communities have been focused on, well, how do we help people get jobs? Or, how does the government provide these people money during this time? Well, as an organization, the best thing that you can be doing is building meaningful content. So content that has empathy. If, for example, I saw Puerto Rico did a beautiful ad that said, this is how our company is creating thousands of new masks every day, has the innovation to create thousands of new masks every day to support the community that they're in. They're building meaningful content. They didn't stop marketing, they just changed what they said. The second is to leverage these trending topics, whether it's a hashtag or the crisis that we have. Leverage the topics and communicate the transparency about them. It's not the time necessarily to say, we have the lowest business cost in the world right now, but it is the time to say our companies are building great things that are helping people all over the world. To leverage trending topics. And then as it relates to digital or with the tools that you have, show some form of interest or engage. So as you see articles come up, as you see posts being developed, if you show interest by liking something, by engaging with somebody online, it's going to increase the visibility that you have. And the example that we talk about here in the US is the automotive manufacturing companies. They haven't stopped their marketing. They've changed what they are saying. So they've changed the message from a message of buy our car to this is how we're helping our employees. And they're engaging with their connections and their digital ecosystem to show that they're still there. Rather than go away, they're showing that they're still there. And they're also leveraging positioning. So positioning is a tactic within marketing that gives you the ability to highlight a particular area that you have a competitive advantage in. And so the process is used to get information about claims that your location can make to promote itself versus a competing location. How is Puerto Rico different from the DR from a business perspective? How is Cali, Colombia different from Medellin from a business perspective? What are the things that you can do to position that community in a different way? And understanding your position or your value proposition, both in times of crisis and in good times, is kind of the thing to do. I would also suggest that this is a time where you can ask your companies, ask the community how they're being affected, so you can understand more of your positioning and also how to help. What you're seeing right now is the strategic positioning framework for investment attraction. So, you see low compatibility with the location, low to high, growth potential, and then barriers to entry, which you see here. Your position has to be, low barriers to entry, high growth potential, and then high compatibility with your location. And it also has to identify opportunities. So if you guys are identifying opportunities for positioning, this time in our market, supply chains are starting to consolidate. China has given the world the opportunity to consolidate supply chains and onshore a lot of activities. And you can look at companies, identify these opportunities, or start to prepare for the recovery right now. And so these are some of the things that you can gather on prospects, during this time of planning and this time of research. These are some of the things that you can gather on prospects. Here's how you can define positioning: what makes you unique, what goals and values do you have, and what's the personality of the marketing or your messaging. And again, what is the positioning of your marketing relative to the context that we're in time. The other thing that I would suggest, because travel has stopped, and usually in investment promotion or marketing in general, trade shows are a big marketing expense for everybody. So one of the things that I would recommend during this time, if you have money that that is left over, you can start to invest in premium products. So things like Zoom, things like LinkedIn Sales Navigator, things like HubSpot for marketing automation. This is the time to use the money that you would have been spending on trade shows to invest in technology or products that are going to help you position your community, a website, that are going to help position your IPA or your community in the long run. Getting international, starting to do some research with other platforms. And obviously we did this presentation prior to the COVID crisis pandemic, but I have WeChat on my phone. I have Qzone, Orkut as well. So starting to look at other platforms internationally and seeing what the rest of the world is doing, not only from a digital perspective, but from a research perspective would be great. And then providing some level of consistency. Whoops, what's going on here? Providing some level of consistency with your marketing, whether it's social or digital, having some form of a time and a place and behaviors that you do every day is really important. So if you go on Twitter or if you go on LinkedIn, which is obviously the platform that I'm recommending the most for B2B, take 20 minutes a day to look at what people are saying, to see trending topics, to see if any of those topics could be of value to your IPA or to your businesses. And also look at what are the best free zones doing? What are the best IPAs in the world doing? Look at what the Netherlands is doing, for example, in terms of IPA performance. Look at what Zona America is doing in terms of their communications. How can you replicate that? And being consistent is that first part. Then, eighth step or the eighth principle is taking a comprehensive approach to your marketing. And that comprehensive approach starts with a strategy. Strategy is essentially how your organization, how your company is going to win, how you're going to weather this storm, and what you're going to do when the recovery starts. So what's your strategy? What's the comprehensive approach that you're taking as an organization? Here's what the state of Georgia does for their strategy. From a marketing perspective, they have sales presentations, social media, they're hosting online events, they have marketing literature, they have promotional pieces, film, website, advertising, and obviously, they have a significant amount of money. But if you were to prioritize the top 3 things that you could do during this time, I would recommend some version of fixing your website, building a website, changing your marketing message or updating your marketing message from an advertising perspective or a digital perspective, and also strategy. It's not in Georgia's model, but having a marketing strategy for now and into the future is going to be something that your board is going to want to look at, your staff is going to need to know, and it gets everybody aligned with where you need to be. And also, it helps refine the targets that you have. 9th principle is becoming a thought leader in your field or your industry. So if you do have something that is special, or when you are producing content, or good content, you have to come across like a thought leader. And LinkedIn is one of the best ways to do that. Your website is a great way to do that. And the industries that I named before, the organizations, top IPAs, top free zones, from Dubai to the US, the best ones are thought leaders. They provide information and they provide direction for their communities during good times and during bad times. And then lastly, use your network or use your groups to create social networks. So Camila has done a great job of sharing, she's done a great job of getting everybody together on this chat over a certain amount of time. This is a network. We've created a network, and she's created a network, and I think it's really valuable. And so continuing those networks, you guys do a great job of, asking questions, connecting with one another, putting yourselves out there. Continue to use these networks during this time, because it'll help provide you the connections that could help attract an investment, could help save an investment. We talk about marketing to attract, but we might also consider marketing to retain the companies that we currently have in our community. So we have some polls. I don't know, Camila, if we have people taking these polls, but it's really interesting to see what you all are saying in terms of the demographics that we have, and then in terms of, in terms of the biggest problem in economic development being turnover in politics. Well, what's one thing that marketing does, and especially on a platform like LinkedIn or through your website, regardless of who's the politician at the time and what the turnover is, if you have a document, if you've written something down, the chances of it going away are less. If you have a connection with somebody that's not on your corporate email, that might be through LinkedIn, the chances of you losing that connection on LinkedIn are significantly less. So if I change jobs from Conway today, you will all still be my LinkedIn connections at whatever company that I'm at. So I wanted to leave you guys with focus on the connections that you have, focus on the message that you use from a marketing perspective, consider your network and take advantage of your digital networks, and ask each other for help if you need it. If there's a challenge, if there's a problem, ask each other. So with that, I'll take any questions and turn it back over to you, Camila.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Guillermo. I think one of the homework of anyone here in this chat is, if you don't have LinkedIn, this must be, or you don't have it updated, this must be your number one homework. So please go y hagan la tarea de actualizar y tener el LinkedIn. En este momento tenemos una audiencia muy grande, en parte por LinkedIn. Entonces, por favor, no dejen atrás esa tarea. Y Guillermo, lo que mencionabas perdón, el Spanglish, ¿no?
Está bien.
Definitivamente, y pues para mala noticia de muchos de nosotros, este año no vamos a poder viajar, o vamos a poder viajar, estimamos, entre octubre, noviembre, diciembre. Y como se mencionaba, nosotros estamos acostumbrados a buscar a nuestros clientes en los trade shows, que este año no van a estar. Entonces, se pueden tomar dos acciones, como nos decía Guillermo. Usemos ese presupuesto para tener la mejor página web actualizada, para invertirla en todos los canales, en tener una estrategia de marketing digital, pero no dejemos de invertir en mercadeo, porque definitivamente, y es como el mensaje principal que me llevo contigo, Guillermo, es como una bola de nieve. No invierto en mercadeo porque voy a tener crisis, entonces nadie me va a ver, entonces no voy a tener clientes. Entonces se vuelve un círculo vicioso que nos va a llevar para el efecto contrario. En este momento, más que nunca, deberíamos estar invirtiendo en mercadeo y en tecnología. Entonces, pongamos a todos nuestros empleados a construir cuál va a ser la estrategia digital, cuál va a ser nuestra nueva página web. Hay muchos acá que tienen una página web excelente, pero hay muchas otras zonas francas que yo he entrado y que la página no está actualizada. Entonces, definitivamente. Y lo que mencionabas que me gustó mucho, Guillermo, de tu thought leaders. Tenemos que, no es simplemente poner un post de invierta en nuestra zona franca y tenemos estas bodegas. Es el contenido y cómo voy a llamar la atención de estas zonas francas a través del contenido. Tengo que volverme en influencer, tengo que hacer que las personas quieran ir a conocerme o a conocer mi zona franca por por darles un ejemplo. Y acá nos están acompañando de los de las zonas francas de Barcelona, que lograron a través del 3D printing que tienen en su zona franca sacar impresas los respiradores. Eso es contenido. Entonces, estamos trabajando comunidad thought leader, pero es más allá de vengan a visitarnos que tenemos una zona franca que los espera. No, es como qué está detrás. Vamos acá hay unas preguntas, bueno, y tú me complementas, pero es como los takeaway que me llevo de tu sí, les vamos a dar las presentaciones, no se preocupen, sí, se las vamos a dar. No entiendo por qué todo el mundo se preocupa por las presentaciones. No conozco a nadie que después se sienta a ver la presentación. Si me comparten en el chat y me dicen, es que después con la presentación voy a hacer mi estrategia del resto del año, ok, se los mandamos, pero yo no conozco mucha gente que después se ponga a ver las presentaciones una vez se haya terminado una conferencia. I don't know if you feel the same, Guillermo, but
yeah, no, it's true. Es cierto. Everybody wants the presentations. One of the other things
with the presentation, not the content of the presentation, is what you listen to Guillermo, and they're like, okay, I need to do this, I need to upgrade, I'm going to do the LinkedIn. Ya sigue la conferencia. Bueno, muy bien, María del Pilar. She's doing the.
And the other thing that I would say, Camila, is the sectors. Right now, this is a chance to think about the sectors that are going to be affected and the sectors to start thinking about in the future. So right now, for a lot of the free zones, they're doing traditional manufacturing, textile manufacturing, and textile manufacturing is going to get hurt, over the next in the global economy. There's no doubt about it. These textile manufacturers are going to get hurt and jobs are going to be lost. So how do you start thinking about, marketing for the future, marketing for technology, marketing incubators, planning for that, putting a strategy together for that future that maybe doesn't exist yet. But what you do know is what you have in the past and the things that you did in the past are not going to be the things that you need in the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely sense. Sense. Well, they're now all doing the homework of sending the LinkedIn. That's great.
Perfect.
That's great. And yeah, this community is, well, right now we're a community of almost 1,600 people. So I think that together we're rethinking, and the whole purpose of this, actually the purpose of this summit, Guillermo, is marketing, because we need to show to the world that under this situation, you have free trade zones in Latin America that are available to receive happily the new investments. So that's why we decided during the summit. So we rethink the strategy to get together and to show to the world, okay, LATAM is ready to receive your investments, because to be honest, they have been to Asia, they think about Europe, but they haven't think about LATAM. So this is the right moment to think about.
And it's about the message that you're going to do for LATAM, right? So we are running, and our companies are global companies. In our free zones, we have, from Medtronic to Pfizer to, BPO operations. Our free zones are running companies, and they're doing it productively. They're doing it reducing risk. So the three things that you need to put in your marketing message, if this is about marketing, how is LATAM going to reduce risk? How is your free zone